Good morning, friends. Today, we will be talking about uh, intermittent breath holding running technique, or IBHRT. And this is basically a technique that I have come up with of course, inputs from my spiritual learning, as well as the Wim Hof breathing method. So it's kind of a modification and amalgamation of different yogic techniques to maximize your calorie burning, maximize your output from the least amount of running. And why is that important? That is important because not all of us are trained athletes. Not all of us are Usain Bolts who can sprint 100 meters under 9 seconds. So it's very important to develop a technique where we are burning out the calories and we are feeling exhausted even if we have run short distances. So what is this IBHRT? IBHRT or the intermittent breath holding running technique is basically aimed at modifying the HIIT, or the high intensity interval training. So the whole idea is that you sprint if you want to for like 5-10 seconds, and then you let yourself like totally wear out and take big breaths like a dog who's panting. So you have to make your intercostals and your upper airways work pretty hard to gush in all the air, and you don't have to run for more than 10 seconds. That's the beauty, depending upon your body weight. If you are a more lean person, maybe you can speed up to 15 seconds. If you are more on the heavier, bigger side, you might just want to restrict yourself to 5-6 seconds. So there's no right or wrong answer. The distance of sprinting is the distance when you get short of breath. For some people it can be lesser distances than others, but you have to do it at a rapid rate. Now what do you do if you have osteoarthritis of the knee? What do you do if you have conditions such as COPD, asthma, where you cannot run super fast because A, you start wheezing, or B, your legs start hurting, your knees start hurting? Now that's where IBHRT comes into practice. The whole idea is that you have to modulate your breathing accordingly. So if you cannot run fast, you take a big breath and then you run, or you just hold your breath for whatever duration you can while you're running. Say you can only run for 5 seconds. So for the 5 seconds, I make sure that either I'm totally out of all the air or I'm totally in of all the air, whichever works better for you. But you have to not inhale during those 5 seconds that you're running, or 6 seconds, 10 seconds. What that does is basically build up the anaerobic metabolism, the anaerobic glycolysis, and the lactic acid. And that's why you feel this soreness in your muscles. The soreness will come in faster if you do longer spurts versus doing 10 spurts of 2 seconds each. So of course you don't want to pass out, so you have to know your limits, and you have to gradually acclimate and increase the amount of distance that you run or the duration of time that you hold your breath. But the whole idea is to slowly increase to exhaustion or rapid panting breathing. And of course you can repeat it as many times as you can, but always remember, start low, go slow, because you don't want to have decreased blood flow to your brain and collapse and have other problems. So this is something you have to acclimate yourself over time and then get into it. But the whole point is that you're not wearing out your ligaments, your tendons, not wearing on the meniscus in the knees. You're not going to cause osteoarthritis, wear and tear of the knees, of the ankle, or soreness of the muscles. People run marathons and then they tear their muscles and they get rhabdomyolysis or breakdown of the muscle, kidney injury. So you avoid all those downsides of long duration running by curbing the duration and distance in lieu of holding your breath. And to maximize the input, you can do two more things, which I typically do. First is you have to run without any clothes. The reason for that is when you don't wear layers, especially on a cold day, you are developing your own heat, by the way. But also you are causing formation of brown fat. The brown fat is the fat that is found in infants, makes them glow their skin, the hair looks better. But in general, it's the fat that increases your metabolism. So you have to increase your brown fat by cold exposure. You can do it with cold water showers or running in cold environments, exposure to snow. Some people will just pile up snow and rub it on their skin and run, but that's kind of an extreme. You shouldn't start with that. Basically, you're increasing your cold exposure without increasing the duration that you're outside running. The second thing that I do is tiptoeing. Tiptoeing is the technique where when you hit the ground, you are trying to, let me show it to you here. You're trying to hit it with the tip of the toe and not with the heel, because the heel is what generates the back force into the knee compartment and causes osteoarthritis. So it causes calcaneal spurs in your heel and it causes osteoarthritis in the knee. But when you tiptoe, the forefoot basically is the area that is getting the pressure. So not only it causes better grasp and proprioception, so it increases the balance, but also you will realize when you tiptoe, the force from the front of the foot goes into the Achilles heel, into the calf, and helps to hypertrophy and grow the calf. And from there, the alternate muscles, of course, are the hamstrings, and then it goes into the abs. So you're kind of causing strengthening of the core muscles, not only of the calf, not only of the hamstrings, but also of the abdominal muscles. So tiptoeing has lots of benefit, and even with small durations of run, you can see that you're feeling the pain, especially if you're doing the breath holding. And you can tiptoe anywhere. You can tiptoe in your house for whatever duration you can. The more you tiptoe, the more balance you build, and the more stronger your calves, hamstrings, and cores will become. So that is again a great technique. People who are hitting their heels a lot of time, they will not only they are causing collapse of the arches of the foot and the flat foot, but also they are causing damage to the various ligament structures in the process. So to summarize it, my friend, to maximize your running techniques, 3 things that you should do. First is IBHRT, intermittent breath holding, for the long spurts that, not for the long, for the short spurts that you run, and then you kind of run slow during the capitulation phase, or where you're catching up your breath to kind of continue the flow of run. You should not interrupt the run. So small durations of holding the breath, after which you are taking big panting breaths, but still running. Either you're running fast or running slow, but you're running for those 15-20 minutes that you came to do this running workout. Second, cold exposure, by exposing yourself not only to the cold environment. If you're running in the mountains, even better, because the oxygen concentration is low and you have the cold exposure, but also because you get the exposure from the sun and you get the exposure from the wind, the 2 strong elements that are causing nurturing and growth of the body in the long run. And the third is, of course, tiptoeing, or I should say hitting the frontal portion of the foot, so that you feel the pressure not only on the forefoot and build better proprioception and balance, but also strengthen your cores, hamstrings, and calf. Hope you like this video. Please feel free to leave the comments below.